Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Marc Casado because Marc Casado has just been phenomenal this season. And I do want to make a video explaining his journey to get to this position and how important he is for Hansi Flick's FC Barcelona. Now let's start with a very interesting fact. Casado in 3 months under Hansi Flick has the same amount of assists as Tchouaméni from Real Madrid. Casado currently does have 3 assists in the league and 5 total in all competitive competitions. If you go look at Tchouaméni, he has played 102 matches with Madrid so far, ever since he first got signed 3 years ago. And through those 102 matches, he has 3 goals and 5 assists. Marc Casado in 13 matches only has 5 assists already. The only thing Casado is missing is 3 goals to match Tchouaméni. But keep in mind, Casado has only done this in 13 matches. I believe that the hype around Casado should be much higher compared to Tchouaméni. What Casado has been able to do in just his first season has been extraordinary. But as we all know, the PR with Tchouaméni is going to be much stronger than Casado's, mainly because Tchouaméni is a Madrid player. But that is part of the reason why I am even making this video, is to showcase why he is so special, and hopefully you guys can go and share on this video. So clearly, Casado has announced his name to the footballing world ever since Barcelona defeated Bayern Munich 4-1 and defeated Real Madrid 4-0. Casado was a key part to both of those victories. Casado in those 2 matches was the holding midfielder. He was the one winning balls, winning duels, making key passes, making sure that Pedri is properly protected. And many Barcelona fans adored this because keep in mind, 4 to 5 months ago, Casado was supposed to leave Barcelona. That was the whole idea. Casado did not really see a future with Barcelona because Xavi Hernandez, who was the coach of Barcelona at that time, did not really see Casado as a huge opportunity. Xavi Hernandez wanted to sign a brand new central defensive midfielder and also renew the contract of Sergi Roberto. That is why in the last season, Casado did not see a lot of opportunities. It's because we had Oriol Romeo, we had Sergi Roberto, sometimes we did have Andreas Christensen in the pivot position. Casado was never in Xavi's mind. Now, this is me not saying that Xavi Hernandez is a bad coach. I'm not saying that Xavi Hernandez did a horrible job on nurturing homegrown talent, because if anything, we have only seen the opposite of that. It's the reason why Hansi Flick has been able to work with Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, Hector Fort, Alejandro Balde, and many others. But Casado was just one of those players that was not found under the eyes of Xavi Hernandez. But with Hansi Flick, he's saying, okay, you may not have gotten those chances under Xavi, but I'm going to give you those chances because, to be honest, knowing your profile, knowing how you do play, you do align to how I want my Barcelona team to be. And that is why today we see Casado performing so amazing, intercepting balls, very vertical in his passes, very intense, very focused. It's like Xavi, but with a much better understanding on how to perform as a lone pivot. And I believe that Casado is here to take vengeance because last season it did end in a disappointment for him because he did lose to Cordoba during the promotion playoff final, and he had to apologize to the fans saying that he's sorry that it should not be like this. You can just see the emotions and the anger that Casado did carry with him. And now I believe that with him seeing this chance to be in the first team and to be relied upon, even with Frankie being in the team, Xavi also being in the team, he knew that he had to take this chance while those players were out. And man, did he do that. And so through the season, you can just see that Casado, the reason why he has been so good is because he also communicates with Hansi Flick during the match. Like, he always goes straight to Hansi Flick and he says, okay, what am I doing? I have a little confusion here. What am I supposed to do here? Can you clear this up for me? Hansi Flick is like, okay, just do this, do that. Don't worry. Okay, we're up 1-0. I just need you to do this specific instruction and then you'll be fine. And then Casado just listens. It's very similar to how Mascherano was with Barcelona when Pep Guardiola was here back in 2011 and 2012. Mascherano, every time Barcelona scored a goal or there was like some trouble, he immediately went to the coach and he asked for more instructions, more clarity, because sometimes they were confused. And the more a player has clarity on what they should be doing and how the players around them should be acting, the better they do perform. So Casado is a player that wants to take responsibility and wants to be accountable. And so through the season, we also saw him rotate through different positions. We saw him as a number 8. We also saw him as a lone pivot, also as a player who was in the double pivot position with either Frankie or maybe Marc Bernal or maybe sometimes Eric Garcia, maybe sometimes Pedri. He had many different pairs. I believe that he did play as a number 8 against Valencia, Getafe, and Alaves, while he first started as a holding midfielder against Real Valladolid on August 31st. But I believe that as time went on, his best position was to be in the double pivot position and to be paired with a player that plays much more as an 8. So whether that was Eric Garcia or maybe Pedri or whoever it may be, Casado was the deepest midfielder. And his best performance came against Real Madrid, where he did register 47 completed passes, 17 defensive actions, and provided an amazing through pass and assist to Lewandowski that led towards the opening goal. Casado's involvement in playmaking as well did showcase through his high passing accuracy, which was 90.6%. Every player like Pedri, like Lamine, like Rafinha relied on Casado to make sure the ball gets passed through with ease. Hansi Flick also gave him some praise by saying his improvements, his mentality. This guy is a pure La Masia product. And I believe that because he is a pure La Masia product, seeing his evolution as a player is also going to inspire many players in La Masia right now. The players who are 13, 14, 15 years old, they're going to be looking at Casado and saying, oh my God, this was a player that was supposed to leave 4 to 5 months ago. And now that he got his chance with a brand new coach, now look at him. Now he might be considered as a ultimate starter for Barcelona for the next few years. I can do the exact same thing because I see an example right here in front of me. So Casado is paving the way towards not just central defensive midfielders, but also to other players who play in other different positions, because you just never know what type of chance you could get based off the circumstances that the first team is going through. Just like how Lamine Yamal got his chance on the right wing position ever since Dembele left, it did seem like before Dembele left, Lamine Yamal, in his perspective, was never going to see a chance on the right wing position, especially knowing that Xavi Hernandez also wanted Bernardo Silva during 2021 and 2022. And so because Casado is also making that position his own, it's going to be so interesting to see how Hansi Flick does handle the midfield, because who is going to be the main starter next to Casado if Casado ends up going to this trajectory, right? Is it going to be Bernal? Is it going to be Pedri? Is it going to be Xavi? You have so many good choices. And I just find it insane to see that Casado has been performing so good. 2 months ago, Marc Bernal was benching him. Like, the reason why Casado did not really have a very strong start or consistent starting position in the first 2 or 3 weeks under Hansi Flick is because Marc Bernal was taking his position, and it was either Marc Bernal or Pedri or Marc Bernal and Eric Garcia. Marc Bernal, bro, was he really that good? Was he so good that he was able to bench Casado? But I do think that at one point, maybe around this time next year, we could see a double pivot of Bernal and Casado, and that will be a double pivot that can greatly work for Barcelona and is going to give exactly what Hansi Flick does want. And most importantly, Barcelona no longer have to go to the market and find a central defensive midfielder like Zubimendi or whoever they were thinking and just neglect that and just focus on Casado and Bernal. La Masia continues to blossom, and now Barcelona will be able to save some funds. I also believe that this does in a way push Frenkie de Jong away from Barcelona. Many have been saying that, Kevin, do you hate Frenkie de Jong? Why do you keep saying that Frenkie de Jong might not deliver or he might not be good enough? Here's the thing. I think that Frenkie de Jong is he's a phenomenal, great player, a great player. But when you compare his performance and his involvement and what he brings to Barcelona, and you grab that, right, and you compare it to Casado and Bernal and what they bring, it just, to me, I don't see a spot or a opportunity where Frenkie de Jong can say, I have this over Bernal and Casado, and this is the reason why you should start me. Like, I don't see that type of argument. And Hansi Flick might be looking at that in that way and say, okay, Frenkie de Jong might not be needed as much as before because now we have Bernal, now we have Casado. Xavi can also play in these positions. If Pedri, if he ever wants to play as the second highest midfielder and play next to Casado or Bernal, he's also going to be my other choice. It does push Frenkie de Jong out the way. This is not me being negative, it is me being a realist. I mean, think about this, right? In the game against Real Madrid, when we were at halftime, Frenkie de Jong was about to come in. All of us were thinking, okay, Casado is probably going to be taken off because, you know, Pedri is there. Fermin Lopez is also a number 8. Casado has to be the one, right? Frenkie de Jong, Pedri, and Fermin Lopez was going to be our main midfield. That was our whole idea. But what we saw was Hansi Flick saying, no, we're not going to be doing that. I still want Casado there because to me, he is immovable. So Frenkie de Jong did not switch out with Casado. He switched out with Fermin Lopez. Fermin Lopez was a number 8 in that game. Again, keep in mind, context matters, right? Casado should have been the one taken off in that game because he got booked for a foul against Vinicius. It was making the most sense to bring in Frenkie and have him switch out for Casado. But no, Hansi Flick said no. Frenkie coming in for Fermin Lopez. I'm going to be putting in Frenkie Casado as our main double pivot with Pedri pushing to the number 8 position or number 10 position and be behind Lewandowski. And then 8 minutes after that, Casado made a crucial pass to Lewandowski, which led towards the first goal. Casado also did something very similar to this, which was an even better pass straight to Pedri in the 4-1 win against Girona. So for Hansi Flick, he wants Casado to be the most active in his team. That is why Casado has received more passes per 90 minutes, which is 60.6 than any other La Liga midfielder this season. Only 3 midfielders right now, and this is according to The Athletic, have been involved in more goal sequences than Casado, which is Ivan Martin from Girona, Federico Valverde from Madrid, and then we do have Pedri, and Casado does have 6. And so he is a clear example of professionalism and hard work. And we are living in a time where many young players, when they don't see an opportunity in the first team, they usually ask for a move away because they are impatient. They want to go to the first team, even though depending on the player, let's say 99% of the time, they might not deserve it yet, but they're willing to make that move because they just want first team minutes. Casado is one of those players that says, I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to overextend myself. Maybe there's a reason why I have not been placed in the first team yet, and I'm going to work much harder because keep in mind that Casado is not not like Casado was 16, 17 years old like Marc Bernal or a player like Lamine Yamal. Casado is 22. Yes, one of the oldest midfielders in Barcelona, but he still had the patience. He could have easily left last year and go to a team like City or maybe Girona or maybe Liverpool, who knows, right? Because Casado does have that playing style, but he stayed and remained calm. And the only thing that you do need to be successful in the first team is to have patience and to work hard. And now we do have a gem in our hands, and Hansi Flick is only going to continue to improve Casado as a Barcelona player, and we're all going to be here to witness it. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.